Happy Valentine's Day. Whether you're single or you're in a couple or whatever, I hope today that you took some time to kind of just show yourself some extra love or take some time to reflect on all the love that you already have all around you, right? I think sometimes, we want that romantic love so bad, but we forget about the love that we have from our children or the love that we get from our friend group or the love that we get from people who barely even know us and just, are nice to us or whatever it may look like for you. Um, there's so much love all around you already. And sometimes we just have to take a second to pause and look at it and take it in. With that being said, I'm so excited for today's podcast. I say that every podcast at this point, but I really want to talk about negative feelings, triggers, and the importance of experiencing those things. The importance of experiencing negative feelings, triggers, and what that actually means. Because a lot of times I think in our spiritual journey or just like in everyday moods and emotions, no matter what we're going through, if we start to feel ourselves feel bad, right? We start to feel off. There can be a lot of anxiety around like, oh no, what's wrong? What am I feeling? Or on the opposite, maybe you just feel less motivated. You're just like, oh, like I'm feeling sad, I'm feeling down. And you kind of just surf those emotions and you think that they're bad. Like maybe subconsciously a part of you feels like you shouldn't be feeling those things, that you should be feeling happy, right? Or if you are feeling those emotions, that it's bad or something's wrong or there's something negative going on, right? I know for me, like I was so focused on feeling high vibe and positive vibes and whatever that like anytime I would start to feel off, I would feel like, oh no, like, I don't want to feel this way. And I would try to do whatever I could to like not feel that way. And obviously it doesn't feel good, but sometimes we just have to sit with it. Like sometimes we just have to allow ourselves to feel what we're feeling and not judge it so much to the point where it means something more than it actually was, right? I saw this quote and it was like, did you have a bad day or did you have a bad moment and then created a bad day off of all the thoughts and stories you told yourself after that? Right? It's like something happens to us or circumstance or in our life or we do something or we don't do something and we feel upset about it or we feel guilty or whatever the feelings are. And instead of just sitting with it and allowing ourselves to feel that way, we end up just creating so much stories around it and judging ourselves for feeling it. And that can look like just trying to like not feel that way and repress it and push it away. You know what I mean? Like you start to numb or you try to like ignore it or you repress it or you project onto other people or you try to laugh it off or whatever it may look like. You see these feelings as like not good feelings to feel. Right. And it's so easy sometimes that our nervous system can kind of go into fight or flight and our ego can kind of take over to try to protect us, right? What do I mean by that? So much big words, but like what that could look like is, let's say someone triggers you and you end up feeling really upset about it and you start to beat yourself up for it. You start to blame yourself. You start to say, why me? Why does this always happen to me? That's your ego coming in to try to like keep you safe and defend you from those negative feelings or that triggers, when actually it's a lot more productive to be like, what got triggered in me? What did this person trigger in me? How did that make me feel? Right? Now, everything in life has its equal opposite, right? We need contrast in our life. We have day, we have night, we have the sun, we have the moon, we have yin, we have yang, feminine, masculine, happy, sad, whatever. There is always that equal opposite, right? And something that we forget is that the contrast, what we mean by contrast is, let's say, a positive experience, right? The contrast of that would be like, I guess it would be a perceived negative experience. But we need those perceived negative experiences or, not so good feelings in order to birth the realization that we desire something more, right? It's like, yes, I went through this toxic relationship, but it taught me what I don't want. It taught me my deal breakers. It taught me that I need to know my worth and stand up for myself, right? And then anybody who doesn't learn those lessons goes through it over and over and over again, right? Until they literally have to learn. Your feeling of guilt and disappointment in yourself for, not taking your goal seriously for 2-3 weeks doesn't mean that you're a bad person. It births the desire, the realization that, hey, like I actually feel better when I'm on my shit, right? So like the contrasting experience of not being on your shit makes you feel icky and not good in your body, and you feel sluggish and lethargic and whatever. So that births the desire to then take care of your body, to then go to the gym, right? Whether that takes 3 weeks or 3 months, right? I see this a lot in like fitness journeys and health journeys, and I've done it myself, where you're consistent for 3 months straight or whatever. And then after that 3-month mark, you get bored with it, you fall off, you slack off, you fall off track, and then you get to the point that you feel uncomfortable, and then you take action again on your fitness journey. And it's like this cycle, right? You're constantly having to get to that place of pain in order to take action, getting yourself back to that place of feeling good again, until it feels neutral, and then you go back to slacking off so you can feel the pain, you go over again, right? I'm hoping this is making sense. But we need those contrasting experiences in order to birth the desire of what we actually want. You date a guy, he's really outgoing, then you find out he's really friendly with other girls, and you go, oh, that doesn't make me feel good. I don't like that. That's a negative experience, a perceived negative experience. But then you go, it bursts the desire of what you do want. Whatever makes you not feel good is actually a gift, because it shows you, it's a sign of what you actually do desire, right? So like if you feel bad about your finances, if you feel anxious about your finances, if you are willfully blind with your finances, that is actually showing you that you actually desire a good relationship with money, that you actually desire to have, restraint when needed, and, not be such an impulsive spender when it comes to money, right? Like it's actually you having that desire to experience the latter, right? Like the opposite of what you're actually experiencing. Another example of this is like triggers. Triggers are gifts. Triggers are gifts. Why? Because when you feel triggered about something, it allows you to go, it's actually your body communicating to you, right? It's communicating something to you about something within yourself that needs to be worked on or dealt with or paid attention to. You need to pay attention to it. That's why your body's signaling to you that we don't feel so good right now. And triggers are actually, it's a great way to be like, oh, interesting. That made me feel some type of way. I wonder what's going on. Right? And that's where you can start integrating shadow work. Shadow work is basically just that therapy, that self-therapy with the darker aspects of ourselves, right? The unevolved aspects of ourselves that are, that come out to protect us or whatever. So like if someone tells me, like, I remember a trigger for me, and this is just me being so real, in high school, when people would be like, oh girl, you getting thick, I would be like, oh my God, like, what does that mean? Like when I was like a freshman in high school, okay? Because after that, I actually wanted to get thick. I was like, I want a fatty, I want to build muscle, and that's like literally my goal, is thick always. But back then, like, you know what I mean? Like mid 2000s, it was like, I was like, oh my God, like that was a trigger for me. Where does that come from? Right? Back then, I wouldn't have any awareness. I would just feel triggered and then skip a meal, right? because I needed to stay light as a flyer, right? But what actually was going on was that it was being triggered within me so that I could actually go, she meant that as a compliment, but I took it the wrong way. What did I take wrong as that? Did I take it as her saying that, "Ooh, girl, like you put on some weight," and I perceived weight as a negative thing? Where did I learn that from? Where did I learn that that was a negative thing? Where did I learn that? Because I wasn't born that way. I picked that up from somewhere. And then I can scan my childhood, I can scan my teenhood, I can think of ways and ask God for visions of times, that moments of, or your higher self, whatever you identify it as, right? To help me identify like where this came from, right? Maybe you're in the gym and like someone comes up to you and tells you about your form, and then you feel triggered, and then you start telling yourself, this is why I don't go to the gym, this is why I don't do that. And then let's say you don't go to the gym ever again. That trigger wasn't there to make you feel bad. That trigger was there because there was a part in you that there was a part of you that had to be brought to your attention on areas to be more secure in yourself in, right? It's like you shouldn't skip the gym for 3 months just because somebody comes up to you. Like, we know that, but clearly there's a part of ourselves deep down inside that cares a lot what people think about us. And that's an area of improvement, right? That's an area where we can heal and do some inner work and deeping and deep work on, right? So I think a lot of times we can put a lot of weight on a negative feeling, feel like something's off, and really, really try to rush our own process and really try to feel better. And I know like when you feel that way for like after like a week, it gets old, it gets tiring. It's like, okay, like I just want to feel better again. But sometimes our body just needs to do what it needs to do in order to get through whatever you're going through, right? You got to allow yourself to process things. It's in this society, we're so fucking like used to rushing and like rushing everything and rushing every process. Like, you guys are going to rush through life and look, and you're going to be 82 and be like, yo, I wish I was more present. I wish I just calmed down and just relaxed more and soaked in every moment. But I was just in such a rush with everything. Even yesterday, like when my man was taking me to the beach to surprise me, I just was thinking about work, and I was thinking about the things that I had to do later, and I was thinking about the things I had to do next week. And I had to catch myself and be like, girl, like just be present. Like, what are you in such a rush for? Are you in such a rush to do life? Like, calm down. And I think as a society, we're just such a like go society, hustle, whatever, that like it programs us to be that way. But like we have to make time for stillness. And what I'm getting to is that like we have to give that time to allow ourselves to process things without judgment, without putting so much weight on the way that we feel about something. Right? Negative feelings and experiences birth the desire for something that we truly want. It shows us what we want. Bad dating experiences show us what we don't want in a man, and great dating experiences show what we do want in a man. And it's all the same, right? We need contrast in order to live the happiest, most fulfilled life. Because without contrasting experiences, we wouldn't be able to realize what we really do want. And guess what? We wouldn't be able to appreciate it on that level. If you didn't have to work for your dream body, you just snapped your fingers and got it all, that would be great, but you wouldn't know what to do with yourself. You wouldn't appreciate it because you haven't experienced the contrast of the work that it takes in order to achieve it, right? You haven't experienced. This is why. And trigger warning, if anybody is grieving or going through anything, you may want to skip over this part if needed, but death is a real thing. And one of the most beautiful, sad, but beautiful things about death is that it makes us appreciate things in life so much more. My grandfather, my dad's father, just passed away recently. Rest in peace, Baba. I wasn't very close with him, but you can see how my dad is. He just looks like he has a better appreciation for life. It's like life is too short. Life is too short to go on and worry about what somebody fucking thinks about you. Who the F cares? Like literally, oh my God, we're all gonna die one day. Like who the fuck cares? Do the things you want to fucking do. And if you're scared, guess what's more scary? Getting to the end of your life and realizing you lived it is so just so boxed up because you were so afraid what other people think of you. You were so afraid of the negative feelings. You were so afraid of, oh my God, what if I fail? What if you don't live a fucking fulfilling life? You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Like, it's just, I understand that with every opportunity to succeed, there's an equal opportunity to fail. But there's no such thing. If you actually were to look at like, what is actual failure? Like, what is failure? Like, if I could define what failure looks like for me, like, I'm going to define failure as me just quitting. Like, failure to me is quitting or not even trying. That's what I define as failure. Anything else is a learning experience and feedback for me in order to improve and do better in my journey, right? Then you're setting the intention that, like, with everything that you pursue in your life, whether it's your dream business or, you know, leaving an unfulfilling relationship or, you know, working towards your dream body or investing in one-on-one coaching or, you know, whatever that looks like to you, take the leap. Just take the leap. I know it's easier said than done, but like you're either living in love or you're living in fear. And we're programmed to live in fear, but you can also reprogram your mind to lead with love. And when you lead with love, abundance is always there for you. Happiness is always there for you. Hope is always there for you. And I think as a species, we need that like return to love within ourselves, for others. It's not always easy. Trust me. Like I probably curse out 3 people a day when I'm on the road, but we're human at the end of the day, right? So the next time you feel a negative feeling or you're not feeling like yourself and you're beating yourself up for it and you really just want to feel better and you wish that you were happy all the time, or maybe you're in this pursuit on your spiritual journey in order to feel happy all the time, or you're constantly looking for that external happiness to fill the void or whatever it looks like for you, you have to understand that without those negative feelings, you would not be able to feel the greatness and the sweetness of the victory that it feels like to feel that happiness, to appreciate is what I mean, to appreciate that happiness, appreciate those goals, appreciate that person in your life without the opposite. Okay? So if you got anything from this podcast episode today, it's to like, let's normalize like not feeling okay. Like, can we normalize that? Not in the sense of like, don't do anything to try to make yourself feel better, but like, we just need to learn how to sit with the feelings more and understand that if you're feeling triggered or if something caused you a negative experience or feeling, that is actually, it's a sign for areas that you need. It's bringing your attention to something bigger. And sometimes you have to do a little bit of soul searching to do that. If someone makes a comment about your body or makes a comment to you and that makes you feel, and you kind of laugh it off and go, oh, yeah. And then later on, you feel super down about yourself. You're beating yourself up. That is a sign that you need boundaries set. That part of you feels angry and resentful because you're not setting boundaries, or, you know, maybe you care what people think, or it could be anything. And when you work on that and you go, okay, this is what I'm truly like, this situation made me feel like I need this or I want this. And you start implementing that and embodying that in your life. Well, then the next time someone makes a comment about your body, it may hurt you a little bit, but you're going to go, you know what? I'm secure in myself. This bitch don't know what she's talking about. I love her or him, but if this person thinks that they can make a comment about me, and there could be so many scenarios, but like that shows more about them than it does about me. And honestly, like I know that I'm doing the best that I can, right? It's having that security in yourself. And you would not have been able to do that without understanding to set those boundaries, right? So there's so many different, scenarios I could go into, but that's kind of my message for today. I hope you guys got value from this. We have something so exciting coming for you guys within the next 2 days. So it depends when you're listening to this. It's February 14th. And I'm really excited to bring this opportunity back. Let me know what you guys think it is, because I am so stoked. And if you guys have me on Instagram, make sure to put your post notifications on, because you're not going to want to miss this. Okay. With that being said, guys, thanks so much for listening to me and taking the time. Make sure if this impacted you in certain ways, share with a friend who may need to hear this, post it on your story, spread the word. And again, thank you so much for taking the time to listen to me. Love you all, and I'll see y'all in the next podcast. Bye.